All right, thank you, Mr. Adams, and everything that you guys do at the library. Next, we'll recognize Tiffany Hansen from the Health Department, our Health Department Director for National Health Department Week.
Mr. Chairman, fellow board members, thank you all for having me. I'm always super proud when I get to talk to y'all about things that we're doing at the health department, but particularly proud when I get to come before you on this week, being National Public Health Week, and really dote on our staff and the incredible work that they do at the health department, really trying to connect the community to public health. So it just gives me an opportunity to really commend their efforts and the connections that they make. You know, they see over 16,000 patients every year, and that's just in our clinical programs. That doesn't count on-site and any of our wastewater or restaurant inspections. And so, you know, they really do an incredible job connecting to the community. Along with that, I really just want to say thank you to you all for your continued support of public health, because I think that goes a long way in the commitment to the community's health and wellness. So thank you, and thank you for doing the resolution tonight. We really appreciate the support, and I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all may have.
Thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
Any questions, board? Well, hang tight. We have
Sure.
a proclamation for you as well.
And you can talk just a little bit about the bus y'all have.
Yes,
It's-
lots of mobilization
yeah.
happening in the county. And so we have a mobile screening unit, which y'all approved, that we are getting ready to launch throughout kind of the 4 sectors in the county based on GIS for areas in the community that don't have access to primary care as regularly as other locations. And so that bus will go out and do A1C, blood pressure screenings, and cholesterol checks in order to connect patients back to either our primary care or any primary care really that they want to connect with, so we can follow up and make sure that they get the care that they need and the medication that they need to manage some of their conditions, really in a hope to start to impact our leading causes of death, which are heart disease and diabetes in the county. So as Wright mentioned with their mobilization, we're very excited just to get out and connect with the community.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
National Public Health Week 2024. Whereas the week of April 1st through the 7th, 2024 is National Public Health Week. And whereas the theme for National Public Health Week is protecting, connecting, and thriving, we are all public health. And whereas the goal of National Public Health Week in 2024 is to recognize the contributions of public health in improving the health of the residents of Cleveland County. And whereas many of the leading causes of death for individuals in Cleveland County result from chronic conditions, which are among the most common, costly, and preventable of all health challenges. And whereas public health organizations use National Public Health Week to educate policymakers on issues that are important to improving the health of the people of Cleveland County. And whereas public health professionals help communities prevent, prepare for, mitigate, and recover from the impact of a full range of health threats, including but not limited to disease outbreaks, natural disasters, and other disasters, including those caused by human activity. And whereas in communities across the county, individuals are changing the way they care for their health by avoiding tobacco use, eating healthier, increasing physical activity, and preventing unintentional injuries at home and in the workplace. And whereas efforts to adequately support public health and the prevention of disease and injury can continue to transform a health system focused on treating illness into a health system focused on preventing disease and injury and promoting wellness. And whereas the Public Health Board for Cleveland County supports the goals and ideals of National Public Health Week, recognizes the efforts of public health professionals, local communities, and individuals in preventing disease and injury, and supports providing greater opportunities to improve community health, prevent disease and injury. Now therefore be it resolved that the Cleveland County Board of Commissioners do hereby unanimously proclaim that April 1st through the 7th, 2024 shall be designated as National Public Health Week in Cleveland County, and commend its observance to all county residents, encouraging each resident to support opportunities to adopt positive preventive lifestyle choices, and to acknowledge that preventing, connecting, and thriving, we are all public health. Adopted this the 2nd day of April, 2024. You can open it if you want. It's like a present.
right, next item on the agenda is public comment. Madam Clerk?
The public comment portion of a Board of Commissioners meeting is an opportunity for persons wishing to appear before the board to do so. Citizen speakers will be acknowledged in the order in which they signed up to speak and will address all comments to the board as a whole and not one individual commissioners. Speakers will address the board from the speaker's podium at the front of the room and will begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Discussions between speakers and members of the audience will not be allowed. Public comment is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions. Speakers are expected to be civil in their language and presentation and are prohibited from using profanity or making threats of violence or personal attacks against any person. All comments from the speakers shall be issue-oriented and directly related to a subject that the commissioners have oversight and authority. Each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to address the board, and a speaker is not permitted to share, reserve, or relinquish any remaining time allotted to them to another speaker. Any comments where the primary purpose is to promote a business or candidacy shall not be allowed.
We have one tonight, Ms. Linda Lane.
Linda Lane, 223 Range Road in Kings Mountain. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I was on my way to work this morning and had to pick up a coworker, and I had passed a house that I normally pass every time I pick up this coworker, and noticed that there was a rezoning sign out in front of the field. And as I researched it, it's another 100-acre development proposed in Kings Mountain, and it's between 74 and Crocker Road, so it looks like it's coming in behind Beeson Creek. I'd like to state that I personally, along with some of my fellow Kings Mountain people, would like to find out if the ETJ, the extraterritorial jurisdiction, could also include participation by the commissioners, the county commissioners, so they could also have their voice involved when city planners execute what they want to do and take over more farm property, or not really take over, but extended generations of families don't have young kids nowadays that want to take over their farms. So I can see them selling it, but now we have another development along with Brinkley Ridge, Dixon Ridge. There might be one more over there. I've been to the Shelby Council meeting when they approved Blanton Farms, and there's one going over by Jefferson already. And I know these are probably spread out over years, but again, these are city tax dollars now coming into play, and the county is going to be losing money the way I see it, because as soon as they encroach on more county property, that's less money you have to spread to fire and rescue, law enforcement. I can't recall writing down which bill it is, but under this ETJ, a city may not extend its regulatory or police powers beyond the city limits without specific legislation authority. So that tells me that if my niece had lived here, was living here instead of in Raleigh, and her subdivision, now gated community, has tents from migrants that are setting up outside where she lives with her young kids, then our county representatives would also have to send out people to go help negotiate, trying to keep people from going into their gated community asking for food, potentially breaking into their garage or house, trying to get other things that they don't have. And as she stated, these are all military-age men, no families, just men, no kids, no women, and they're concerned, and I just don't want that to happen here. And I think I've kind of covered everything. Oh, in schools, not just law enforcement, fire and rescue, but as these communities continue to allow more housing developments to come up, we don't have enough money for schools or to fix the 2 schools that are closed. Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Commissioners, we have been presented our consent agenda in our packets. We've had an opportunity to review those. If there's none that need to be removed, or no member would like to remove any item from the consent agenda, then I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda is public hearings. Madam Clerk?
After the public hearing has been opened, citizen speakers will be acknowledged in the order in which they signed up to speak and will address all comments to the board as a whole and not one individual commissioner. Speakers will address the board from the speaker's podium at the front of the room and will begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Discussions between speakers and members of the audience will not be allowed. A public hearing is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions. Speakers are expected to be civil in their language and presentation. All comments from the speakers shall be directly related to the subject of the public hearing. Each speaker is allotted 5 minutes to address the board. A speaker is not permitted to share, reserve, or relinquish any remaining time allotted to them to another speaker.
All right, good evening. Tonight we have one case, case 24-06, which is a request to rezone a half-acre portion of parcel number 66377 from residential to neighborhood business. This is also a conditional use for a farm, food, grocery store. At this time, I recognize Chris Martin, who's going to present this case.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Board. As the Chairman stated, we have for your consideration a code amendment requiring public hearing. The petitioner is Mr. Travis Bumgardner. He's asking to change the zoning of a half-acre tract of land from regular residential to neighborhood business for the purposes of developing the property for a farm food grocery store. He's submitted a site plan demonstrating the proposed use of the property. He's proposing an 1,800 square foot building, 6 parking spaces, and then type B screening would be required around the property. The regular residential, which is the current district, is a housing, it's a traditional housing zoning district. And then the requested district, neighborhood business, is a mixed-use district that allows for light retail and housing as well. This property is on Washburn Road, near the intersection of Washburn Switch Road. And the zoning districts surrounding this property are mainly residential, but being near Washburn Switch Road, you'll find industrial zoning up and down that road as well. The land use in this area it's really a variety of uses throughout this region, this parts of the county. You'll find farmland, you'll find single-family dwellings, and then you'll find industrial uses along Washburn Switch Road. And then our land use plan for this area calls this future primary growth, so it's expected to see more activity throughout this area. And our planning board has reviewed and they recommend approval. And they commented that it's in the primary growth area, so it seems to be consistent with land use plan. There's already a variety of uses throughout that area, and then what he's proposing is seems compatible with the surrounding area. And I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Chris. Is there any questions from the board?
The sawmill that's right there, is that on this same property?
It is not. It's on an adjoining property.
Adjoining property?
Yep, just to the northeast. And the petitioner is proposing to carve out 2 acres, and then he's asking to rezone half of an acre of the 2 acres that he's carving out, to be more specific.
Any other questions? All right, so at this time, we'll declare that the public hearing is open. We have a few that have signed up to speak. So first is Linda Lane.
I'll withdraw my comment, sir.
Okay. Next we have, is it Noah Hufstatler?
I wanted to come in and speak for that, for the store, for approval of the store in the biggest part, I guess, because of promoting or promotion of healthier lifestyle of fresh foods and more available, which I have been reading about in the county paper, that there was a big desire for that kind of, for more promotion of that style of, to have it more readily available for everybody. And in that part is what we're hoping to help grow produce and that type of thing to help keep their, hopefully something fresh to eat year round is, that'll be it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
So at this time, the public hearing is now closed. Commissioners, are there any questions or discussion that you guys might have or we might have? Chris can come back up if we have questions for Chris.
I rode by there today, Chris, and it seems like, to me, like that would be very compatible, but, 6 parking spaces, is that enough for a country store? Or is that just anything that we have anything to do with or by statute?
We do have a local ordinance that requires a certain number of spaces per square footage of building, and this would comply with that ordinance.
Is this gonna be mainly like a farmer's market where it's just produce grown locally, or is this gonna be a convenience store with local food grown?
What's been described to our office is a a farm food style grocery store.
Anybody else? All right, we have 3 choices, either approve, deny, or approve with any conditions that the board might have.
Well, it seems very compatible to me. I'd like to make the motion that we approve it.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion, second to approve case 24-06. Is there any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries unanimous. Now we're on to the regular agenda. We have one item, I believe. Yes. So at this time, I'll recognize our county manager, David Cotton. He's gonna discuss Justice Center Phase 1 GMP, which is gross maximum price.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, tonight before you is Phase 1. It's a rebid, including Phase 2, Phase 3 submittals, as well as shop drawings and engineering specifications. And it does represent 80% of the total construction for this project. Total amount is $74,655,166. In that is the concrete to include the foundation, steel for the vertical structure of the buildings, the roofing, glass, drywall, detention equipment, elevator, HVAC, fire suppression, and electrical. What I would propose is that we cash flow this amount and postponing the borrowing, and we do have the cash on hand to fund these, and county staff would recommend approval at this time.
All right, board, what questions and discussion do we have?
I guess just a comment, by doing this, we're heading off some of the price increases. And we do have the money on hand, so we don't have to borrow none to move along, and it'll move that phase ahead, so. You know, if there's no other question, I'll make a motion that we accept it.
I'll second.
Any other questions or discussion?
Well, my only comment would be, it would be wise to push down the road borrowing money, since it seems that interest rates are headed down, and it would sort of be foolish for us to run out and borrow money when we know it's gonna be cheaper later, so I think this is a great idea.
I think that's the point, is yeah, this is probably not the best time to be borrowing money. First of all, interest rates are likely to come down. 2, the second quote, or the second bid on the steel was $5 million more than one the manager quoted, so by pre-ordering or doing the enabling portion of this saves that. And then anecdotally, another one is like, we heard today from county staff, the lead time on generators is, what do you say, 94 months? So the fact that ordering it ahead of time and already having that locked in with this earlier letter of intent is gonna allow for extended lead time items to be here when they need it for the construction project, which is gonna also pay dividends for us to deliver the project on time. Are there any other comments or questions? We do have a motion and a second, right?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Hutchins and Commissioner Whitstein.
All right, so, the reason I say this, not every day do we spend this amount of money, so all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries unanimous. All right, last item on the agenda is adjournment. The next meeting of the Cleveland County Board of Commissioners will be held Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, here in the chambers at 6 PM. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?